Dr. Elena Reyes, lead astrophysicist at the Global Space Initiative, GSI, had dedicated her life to unraveling those mysteries, but nothing in her years of research could have prepared her for the events that unfolded on that fateful night in 2047. The GSI's primary deep space listening array, nestled in the remote Chilean Andes, hummed with its usual electronic symphony. Elena sat at her console, sifting through the cosmic noise, when an unusual pattern caught her eye. At first, she dismissed it as an anomaly, a glitch in the system perhaps. But as the pattern repeated, growing stronger with each iteration, her heart began to race. "Carlos, are you seeing this?" She called out to her colleague, her voice trembling with a mixture of excitement and disbelief. Carlos Mendoza, a brilliant young radio astronomer, rushed to her side. His eyes widened as he took in the data scrolling across the screen. It's structured," he whispered. "This can't be natural." For hours they analyzed the signal, ruling out every possible terrestrial or known cosmic source. As the sun rose over the Andes, casting a golden glow across the array of massive satellite dishes, the truth became undeniable. Humanity had just received its first message from an extraterrestrial intelligence. The news spread like wildfire. Governments scrambled to convene emergency meetings, religious leaders sought to reconcile this new reality with their doctrines, and the public alternated between excitement and fear. But amidst the global chaos, Elena and her team worked tirelessly to decipher the message. Days turned into weeks as the world's brightest minds collaborated on the problem. The signal, they discovered, contained a complex mathematical sequence, a universal language that transcended the barriers of evolution and culture. Embedded within this sequence were coordinates, pointing to a location just beyond the orbit of Mars. As the global community debated on how to respond, a lone figure emerged as the voice of reason. Admiral Zun Liu, a decorated veteran of the Pan-Asian Space Force, addressed the United Nations Security Council. "We stand at a crossroads," she declared, her voice steady and resolute. "For centuries, humanity has looked to the stars and wondered if we were alone. Now we have our answer. This is not a time for fear or hesitation. This is our moment to show the best of what humanity can be." Her words resonated across the globe, uniting people in a common purpose. Within months, a plan was set in motion. The GSI's flagship, the Starship Odyssey, would be retrofitted for deep space travel and sent to the coordinates provided in the alien message. As preparations for the mission intensified, Elena found herself thrust into the spotlight. Her expertise in xenolinguistics made her the natural choice to lead the communication efforts with the alien intelligence. But as she stood before the crew of the Odyssey during their final briefing, she couldn't shake the feeling that they were embarking on a journey that would change the course of human history. "We don't know what awaits us out there," she told them, her gaze sweeping across the diverse faces of the international crew. "But we go forward not just as representatives of our individual nations, but as envoys of Earth. We carry with us the hopes and dreams of our entire species." The day of launch arrived, and the world watched with bated breath as the Odyssey rose from its launch pad in a column of fire and smoke. As the ship broke free of Earth's gravity, Elena felt a mix of exhilaration and trepidation. They were venturing into the unknown, carrying humanity's future with them. The journey to the rendezvous point was uneventful, filled with rigorous preparations and endless simulations of potential first contact scenarios. But as they approached the coordinates, an unexpected sight greeted them. A massive structure, clearly artificial, hung in space before them. Its sleek, otherworldly design defied human engineering principles, its surface shimmering with an iridescent glow that seemed to shift and change as they watched. "My God," breathed Captain Yuki Tanaka, her hands gripping the arms of her command chair. "It's beautiful." Elena stood transfixed, her mind racing with the implications of what they were seeing. This was it, the moment humanity had been waiting for since they first looked up at the night sky and wondered. As the Odyssey drew closer, a beam of energy suddenly lanced out from the alien structure, enveloping the ship in a soft, blue light. Panic rippled through the crew, but Elena raised her hand, calling for calm. "Wait," she said, her eyes fixed on her console. "I don't think it's a weapon. It's a transmission." The ship's speakers crackled to life, and a voice unlike anything they had ever heard filled the bridge. It spoke in a language that was at once alien and strangely familiar, its cadence rising and falling like music. Elena's fingers flew over her console, the translation software she had developed working overtime to decipher the message. As the words began to take shape on her screen, she felt a chill run down her spine. "People of Earth," she read aloud, her voice barely above a whisper. "We have waited long for this moment. You have passed the first test, but the true trial lies ahead. The fate of your world, and ours, hangs in the balance. Are you ready to face the challenge that has broken 1,000 civilizations before you?" As the gravity of the message sank in, Elena realized that this was not just first contact. It was a summons to a cosmic crucible, one that would push humanity to its very limits. The journey that had begun with a mysterious signal had led them to the threshold of a galactic stage. And now, ready or not, humanity would have to prove its worth among the stars. The crew of the Odyssey exchanged glances, a mix of determination and apprehension on their faces. They had come too far to turn back now. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, carrying the hopes and dreams of Earth with them into the unknown. As Captain Tanaka opened a channel to respond to the alien message, Elena closed her eyes, silently praying that humanity was indeed ready for what was to come. The true test was about to begin. The alien structure loomed before the Odyssey, its iridescent surface reflecting the distant starlight. Captain Yuki Tanaka's voice, steady despite the tension, broke the silence on the bridge. "Dr. Reyes, are we ready to respond?" Elena nodded, her fingers hovering over the console. "As ready as we'll ever be, Captain." With a deep breath, Yuki opened the channel. "This is Captain Yuki Tanaka of the Earth ship Odyssey. We hear your message and accept your challenge. Humanity stands ready to prove its worth." For a moment, there was only silence. Then, without warning, the blue light enveloping the Odyssey intensified. Crew members gasped as they felt a strange sensation, as if reality itself was bending around them. In a flash of blinding light, the familiar starfield outside their viewports vanished, replaced by a vast, enclosed space, unlike anything they had ever seen. The Odyssey now floated in what appeared to be an enormous arena, surrounded by tiered structures that stretched as far as the eye could see. Each tier was filled with beings of every conceivable shape and form, a galactic menagerie that defied imagination. "My God," whispered Carlos, his eyes wide with wonder. "It's like some kind of cosmic colosseum." Before anyone could respond, a booming voice echoed through the arena, speaking in the same musical language they had heard before. Elena's translation software worked overtime, rendering the words into English. "Beings of the galaxy, we present to you the newest contenders in the great trial, the humans of Earth." A roar went up from the assembled aliens, a cacophony of sounds that shook the very air around them. "For millennia, we have tested emerging civilizations, separating the worthy from the weak," the voice continued. "Now these humans shall face the challenges that have broken 1,000 races before them. Will they rise to greatness, or fall into obscurity? Let the trial begin." Suddenly, holographic displays sprang to life around the Odyssey, showing the faces of the crew to the vast alien audience. Elena felt a chill run down her spine as she realized the true scale of what they had stumbled into. This wasn't just a test, it was a spectacle, a galaxy-wide event with humanity as the unknowing stars. Captain Tanaka's voice cut through the chaos. "All hands, battle stations. We don't know what's coming, but we need to be ready for anything." As if in response to her words, a section of the arena floor began to shift and change. A massive structure rose from below, a labyrinthine construct of twisting corridors and chambers. "Your first challenge," the announcer's voice boomed, "is the maze of minds. You have one planetary rotation to navigate its depths and retrieve the stellar seed at its core. Fail, and your journey ends here. Succeed, and you move one step closer to joining the galactic community. Elena's mind raced. Captain, we need to form an away team. The maze, it's not just physical. The name suggests it'll test our mental capabilities as well. Yuki nodded grimly. Agreed. Dr. Reyes, you'll lead the team. Take Carlos and Lieutenant Zora Okafor with you. The rest of us will monitor from here and provide whatever support we can. As Elena and her team prepared to enter the maze, the reality of their situation began to sink in. They were millions of light years from home, thrust onto a galactic stage they never knew existed, with the fate of humanity resting on their shoulders. The airlock hissed open, and Elena stepped into the maze, her teammates close behind. The moment they crossed the threshold, the entrance sealed behind them, cutting off their direct link to the Odyssey. Well, Zara said, her hand resting on the pulse rifle at her hip, no going back now. They began to navigate the twisting corridors, each turn bringing new challenges. Gravity shifted unpredictably, forcing them to adapt their movements constantly. Holographic riddles appeared on the walls, requiring solutions to open new pathways. Strange, ethereal creatures phased through the walls, their touch bringing vivid hallucinations that tested the team's grip on reality. As they delved deeper into the maze, Elena couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched, not just by the alien spectators, but by something within the maze itself. It was as if the very walls were alive, analyzing their every move and thought. Hours passed and exhaustion began to take its toll. They had made progress, but the core of the maze still eluded them. As they paused to rest, Carlos slumped against a wall, his face pale with fatigue. "We're never going to make it," he muttered. "This place, it's designed to break us." Elena knelt beside him, placing a hand on his shoulder. "That's exactly why we can't give up. Think about everyone back on Earth, Carlos. Think about what this means for humanity. We've spent our whole lives looking up at the stars, wondering if we were alone. Now we know we're not, and we have a chance to prove we belong out here." Zara joined them, her eyes burning with determination. "She's right. We've come too far to fail now. Earth is counting on us." Reinvigorated by their shared resolve, the team pressed on. As they rounded another corner, they found themselves in a vast chamber. At its center, floating in a column of light, was a small crystalline object, the stellar seed. But between them and their goal stood a shimmering barrier, its surface rippling like water. As they approached, words appeared in the air before them. To claim the seed, you must offer a truth, not a fact, but a profound understanding born of your journey. Elena stepped forward, her mind racing. What truth had they uncovered in this cosmic crucible? As she gazed into the shimmering barrier, the answer came to her. "Our strength lies not in our individual abilities," she said, her voice ringing clear in the chamber, "but in our unity. Alone we would have fallen to the maze's challenges. Together we overcame them. This is humanity's truth. Our diversity is our greatest asset, and our capacity for cooperation in the face of adversity is what will carry us to the stars." For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with a sound like shattering glass, the barrier dissolved. The stellar seed floated gently into Elena's outstretched hand. As her fingers closed around the crystal, the maze began to dissolve around them. They found themselves back on the Odyssey's bridge, surrounded by their cheering crewmates. On the holographic displays, the alien spectators erupted in a frenzy of excitement. "The humans have succeeded," the announcer's voice boomed. "They have passed the first trial and proven themselves worthy to continue. But greater challenges await. Will they have the strength to face what comes next?" As the crew of the Odyssey celebrated their victory, Elena gazed at the stellar seed in her hand. They had taken their first step on the galactic stage, but she knew this was only the beginning. Whatever trials lay ahead, humanity would face them together, ready to prove they belonged among the stars. Little did they know, their success had not gone unnoticed. In the shadows of the cosmic arena, ancient eyes watched with growing interest. The humans had surprised them, and in doing so, had set in motion events that would shake the very foundations of the galactic order. The celebration aboard the Odyssey was short-lived. As the echoes of their victory faded, the ship's sensors blared to life, detecting a new presence entering the cosmic arena. "Captain, we have multiple ships dropping out of FTL," Lieutenant Commander Raj Patel reported from his station, his voice tense. They're not like anything we've seen before." The view screens flickered, revealing a fleet of sleek obsidian vessels that seemed to absorb the very light around them. At their center was a massive flagship, its hull adorned with pulsating veins of crimson energy. The alien announcer's voice boomed once more. "The Zarkonian Empire has arrived to witness the trials. As is their right as a senior member of the Galactic Concordat, they may offer guidance to the new species." Elena felt a chill run down her spine. There was something unsettling about these newcomers, a predatory grace that set them apart from the other alien species they'd encountered. A new voice, smooth and charismatic, filled the arena. "Greetings, humans of Earth. I am High Executive Zexlaw of the Zarkonian Empire. We have watched your performance with great interest. Perhaps we can be of assistance in your upcoming trials." Captain Tanaka exchanged a wary glance with Elena before responding. "We appreciate your offer, High Executor. What kind of assistance did you have in mind?" "A cultural exchange," Zexlaw replied, his tone warm but with an undercurrent of something Elena couldn't quite place. "Allow a delegation of our people to board your vessel. We can share our knowledge of the galactic community and help you prepare for the challenges ahead." The bridge crew looked to Captain Tanaka, who stood in silent contemplation. After a moment, she nodded. "We accept your offer, High Executor. We'll prepare for your delegation's arrival." As preparations were made, Elena couldn't shake her unease. "Captain," she said quietly, "something doesn't feel right about this. The timing is too convenient." Yuki's expression was grim. "I agree, but we can't afford to alienate a potential ally, especially one with their level of influence. Keep your guard up and your eyes open." The Zarkonian delegation arrived in a shuttle that docked with the Odyssey. As the airlock cycled open, Elena got her first close look at their new allies. The Zarkonians were tall, life beings with iridescent scales and eyes that seemed to shimmer with hidden depths. Their leader, introduced as Emissary Califax, moved with a fluid grace that was both beautiful and unnerving. "We are honored to be aboard your vessel," Califax said, his voice a melodious purr. "There is much we can learn from each other." Over the next few days, the Zarkonians integrated themselves into life aboard the Odyssey. They shared tales of distant worlds and ancient conflicts, offered insights into the workings of the Galactic Concordat, and provided cryptic hints about the trials to come. But as Elena worked closely with the aliens, translating and analyzing their information, she began to notice discrepancies. Small contradictions in their stories, subtle manipulations in their advice. It was as if they were leading the humans towards some unseen goal. Late one night, unable to sleep, Elena made her way to the ship's data core. As she sifted through the information they gathered, a pattern began to emerge. The Zarkonians weren't just offering help. They were subtly altering the ship's navigational data and defense protocols. Heart racing, Elena rushed to inform Captain Tanaka. But as she rounded a corner, she found herself face to face with Emissary Califax. "Dr. Reyes," the alien purred, his eyes gleaming in the dim light. "Out for a late-night stroll." Elena forced a smile. "Just checking some data. Trouble sleeping, you know." Califax's expression didn't change, but the air around them seemed to grow colder. Indeed, sleep can be elusive when one's mind is troubled. "Perhaps I can help you find some peace." Before Elena could react, Califax's hand shot out, grasping her arm. A jolt of energy coursed through her body, and the world began to spin. As consciousness slipped away, she heard the alien's voice, now stripped of its false warmth. "You humans are more perceptive than we anticipated. A pity you won't be able to warn your crew. Elena awoke in a holding cell, her head pounding. Through the energy barrier, she could see other members of the crew similarly confined. Captain Tanaka was in the cell opposite her, her face a mask of anger and frustration. Dr. Reyes, Yuki called out. Are you all right? Elena nodded weakly. What happened? The Zirconians showed their true colors, Yuki spat. They've taken control of the ship. We're on a course for the heart of that empire. A cold laugh echoed through the brig as emissary Kelfax appeared. How quickly the mighty fall. Did you really think you could challenge the established order of the galaxy without consequences? Elena glared at the alien. Why? Why go through this elaborate deception? Kelfax's eyes narrowed. Because, my dear doctor, your kind represents a threat. We've seen the spark of potential in you, the same spark that allowed our ancestors to rise to power eons ago. The Galactic Concordat is built on carefully maintained hierarchies. Upstarts like you, well, you need to be put in your place. The trials, Elena realized. They were never meant to be fair. You've been manipulating them all along. The Zirconian's smile was cold. Perceptive indeed. The trials serve their purpose, weeding out the truly hopeless cases. But for species like yours, with the potential to upset the balance, we take a more direct approach. Captain Tanaka's voice was steel. You won't get away with this. Earth will send others. We'll fight back. Kelfax laughed. Oh, but we already have. By the time your precious Earth realizes what's happened, it will be far too late. Your world will be just another footnote in the long history of the Zirconian Empire's expansion. As the alien turned to leave, Elena felt a surge of defiance. You've made a mistake, she called out. You think you know humanity's potential, but you've only seen a fraction of what we're capable of. We've faced extinction before, pushed ourselves to the brink, and come back stronger. This is just another challenge to overcome. Kelfax paused, looking back at her with a mixture of amusement and irritation. Brave words, Dr. Reyes, but I'm afraid they're wasted. Enjoy your journey. I suspect it will be your last. As the Zirconian's footsteps faded away, Elena looked around at her imprisoned crewmates. Despite the dire situation, she saw not defeat in their eyes, but determination. They had come too far, achieved too much, to let it end like this. All right, she said, her mind already racing with possibilities. We're not out of this fight yet. Let's show these Zirconians what happens when you back humanity into a corner. As the Odyssey hurtled through space towards an uncertain fate, its captive crew began to plan. They had been betrayed, deceived, and imprisoned. But in the face of this cosmic crucible, humanity's true strength was about to be revealed. The Zirconians thought they had won, but the real battle was just beginning. The Odyssey's brig hummed with the low buzz of energy barriers, a constant reminder of their captivity. But within the cells, a quiet revolution was brewing. Elena Reyes sat cross-legged on the floor, her eyes closed in concentration as she mentally reviewed every scrap of information they'd gathered about Zirconian technology. Across from her, Captain Tanaka was engaged in hushed conversation with Lieutenant Commander Raj Patel, their words barely audible over the hum of the ship's engines. In other cells, crew members worked in silent coordination, each focused on their part of the escape plan they'd pieced together over days of captivity. Dr. Reyes, a voice whispered, breaking Elena's concentration. She opened her eyes to see Carlos looking at her intently. I think I've figured out the frequency modulation of the energy barriers. If we can create a resonance cascade. Elena nodded, a spark of hope igniting in her chest. That could work. But we'll need a power source to generate the initial pulse. Already on it, Zora chimed in from the adjacent cell. The security officer had managed to partially disassemble the waste reclamation unit in her cell, cobbling together a crude but potentially effective device. It's not pretty, but it should pack enough of a punch to start the cascade. As the crew finalized their plan, a commotion outside the brig caught their attention. The door slid open, revealing emissary Califax flanked by 2 hulking Zarkonian guards. "I hope you've all been comfortable," Califax said, his voice dripping with false concern. "We've entered Zarkonian space. Soon, you'll have the honor of seeing our glorious homeworld, before you're processed, of course." Captain Tanaka stood, her posture defiant. "Processed?" Califax's smile was chilling. "Oh yes. Your bodies will be studied, your minds dissected. We'll learn everything there is to know about your species. It's quite an honor, really. Your sacrifice will further the greatness of the Zarkonian Empire." Elena felt a surge of anger. "You won't get away with this. The rest of the galaxy will see through your lies." The Zarkonians' laughter echoed through the brig. "My dear doctor, they already have. Why do you think no one has come to your aid? The galaxy fears us, respects us. Your disappearance will be nothing more than a cautionary tale for the next upstart species that dares to reach for the stars." As Califax turned to leave, he paused, his eyes narrowing as he surveyed the prisoners. "I do hope you're not planning anything foolish. It would be a shame to have to terminate you prematurely." The moment the door closed behind the Zarkonians, the crew sprang into action. Zara activated her makeshift device, sending a pulse of energy through the cell. For a heart-stopping moment, nothing happened. Then, with a crackling surge, the energy barriers flickered and died. "Move," Captain Tanaka ordered, her voice a fierce whisper. The crew poured out of their cells, quickly arming themselves with whatever makeshift weapons they could fashion. Elena led a small team to the nearest computer terminal, her fingers flying over the alien interface as she attempted to access the ship's systems. Years of studying xenolinguistics and alien mathematics paid off as she navigated the complex Zarkonian code. "I'm in," she announced after several tense minutes. "I can't get control of the ship, but I can send a message." "To whom?" Rage asked, keeping watch at the corridor junction. Elena's eyes gleamed with determination. "To everyone. The Zarkonians aren't the only ones who can play to an audience." With a few final keystrokes, Elena triggered a broadcast. Throughout the ship and across subspace, her message rang out. "To all sentient beings who value justice and freedom, we are the crew of the Earth ship Odyssey. We came in peace, seeking to join the galactic community. Instead, we have been betrayed, imprisoned, and condemned to death by the Zarkonian Empire. Their regime is built on lies and the subjugation of emerging species. We refuse to be silenced. We refuse to be erased. Humanity stands against tyranny, here at the edge of Zarkonian space and across the cosmos. Bear witness to our struggle. Let the truth be known." Alarms blared throughout the ship as the Zarkonians scrambled to contain the situation. But it was too late. The message had been sent, rippling across the galaxy faster than the Zarkonians could suppress it. As chaos erupted aboard the Odyssey, something unexpected happened. The ship suddenly dropped out of FTL, alarms screaming as its systems went haywire. "What's happening?" Captain Tanaka demanded, steadying herself against a bulkhead. Elena's eyes widened as she interpreted the data streaming across the terminal. It's Earth. Somehow, they've managed to remotely interfere with the Odyssey systems. On the main view screen, a familiar face appeared. Admiral Zun Liu, her expression a mix of relief and fierce determination. "Odyssey, this is Earth. We received your distress signal. Hold on, we're coming for you." A fleet of Earth ships, led by the newly christened battlecruiser Defiant, dropped out of FTL around the Odyssey. They were smaller than the Zarkonian vessels, less advanced in many ways, but they moved with a coordinated precision that spoke of countless hours of training and preparation. "Impossible," Califax's voice crackled over the ship's speakers, disbelief evident in his tone. "How did you?" "You made a crucial mistake," Elena replied, her voice ringing with pride. "You assumed that because we were new to the galactic stage, we were alone and defenseless. But humanity has never been defenseless. We've been preparing for this moment for generations." As the battle raged around them, the crew of the Odyssey fought their way to the bridge. Captain Tanaka took her place in the command chair, her eyes blazing with determination. All hands, battle stations. It's time to show the galaxy what humanity is truly capable of. The Odyssey, guided by the skilled hands of its crew and bolstered by Earth's reinforcements, turned to face the Zarkonian fleet. They were outnumbered, outgunned, but far from outmatched. For in this moment, humanity stood united, that indomitable spirit shining like a beacon across the cosmos. As energy weapons flared and ships danced in the void, a new chapter in galactic history was being written. The Zarkonians had sought to extinguish the human spark before it could truly ignite. Instead, they had fanned the flames of a conflagration that would reshape the very foundations of the cosmic order. The battle for humanity's future had begun, and the entire galaxy was watching. The void of space erupted in a dazzling display of energy weapons and explosions as the human fleet engaged the Zarkonian armada. The Odyssey, newly liberated from Zarkonian control, flew in formation with Earth's ships, its crew working in perfect harmony despite their recent ordeal. On the bridge, Captain Yuki Tanaka's voice rang out clear and confident. All ships, maintain formation. Concentrate fire on their flagship. We need to take out their command and control. Admiral Zhen Liu's face appeared on the main view screen, her expression grim but determined. Captain Tanaka, Dr. Reyes, it's good to see you alive. We don't have much time. The Zarkonians are calling for reinforcements. We need to end this quickly. Elena, who had taken her place at the science station, spoke up. Admiral, during our captivity, we managed to gather crucial intelligence on Zarkonian technology. Their ships rely on a centralized quantum entanglement network for faster-than-light communication and coordination. If we can disrupt that network, we can throw their entire fleet into disarray. Admiral Liu finished, a glimmer of hope in her eyes. Excellent work, Doctor. But how do we target something that operates on a quantum level? A new voice joined the conversation. Dr. Usha Patel, Earth's leading quantum physicist, speaking from the Defiant. We've been working on something that might just do the trick. A quantum pulse generator designed to create localized areas of subspace turbulence. We call it Project Stardust. Captain Tanaka leaned forward, her eyes narrowing. What's the catch? Dr. Patel's hesitation was palpable. It's never been tested in combat conditions, and to be effective, it needs to be deployed from within the heart of the Zarkonian fleet. A heavy silence fell over the bridge. The implications were clear. Whoever delivered the Stardust device would be undertaking a near-suicide mission. Elena exchanged a look with Captain Tanaka, an unspoken understanding passing between them. The Odyssey can do it, Elena said, her voice steady. We know the layout of Zarkonian ships. We have the best chance of getting close enough. Admiral Liu nodded solemnly. Agreed. We'll provide cover for your approach. Good luck and Godspeed. As the transmission ended, Captain Tanaka turned to her crew. I won't order anyone to come on this mission. It's volunteer only. Without hesitation, every member of the bridge crew stood at attention. Lieutenant Commander Raj Patel spoke for all of them. With all due respect, Captain, we started this journey together. We'll see it through to the end. Tears glistened in Yuki's eyes, but her voice was strong. Very well. Battle stations, everyone. Let's make history. The Defiant rendezvoused briefly with the Odyssey, transferring the Stardust device and Dr. Patel, who insisted on overseeing its deployment personally. As final preparations were made, Elena found herself working alongside the quantum physicist, making last-minute adjustments to the device. Dr. Reyes, as she said quietly, her hands steady as she calibrated the quantum pulse generator. I've read your work on xenolinguistics. Never thought I'd be working with you to save humanity. Elena managed a small smile. Funny how the universe works, isn't it? All those years studying alien languages, and here we are, about to make the biggest statement in human history without saying a word. As they worked, Elena couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had brought them to this point. From the first mysterious signal to the betrayal by the Zarkonians, every step had led to this moment. Humanity, standing on the brink of either cosmic acceptance or annihilation. The ship shuddered as it took a direct hit, snapping Elena back to the present. Captain Tanaka's voice came over the intercom. "All hands, brace for impact. We're making our run." The Odyssey surged forward, weaving through the chaos of battle. Earth ships provided cover fire, drawing Zarkonian attention away from the Odyssey's approach. But as they neared the heart of the enemy fleet, resistance intensified. "Shields at 30%, Raj reported, his voice tense. "We can't take much more of this." Elena and Aisha rushed to the bridge, the Stardust device secured and ready for deployment. As they arrived, a massive explosion rocked the ship, sending them sprawling. "Direct hit to the engine core," Karas called out, his hands flying over his console. "We're losing power." Captain Tanaka's face was set in grim determination. "Divert all remaining power to forward shields and thrusters. We only need a few more seconds." The view screen showed the looming bulk of the Zarkonian flagship, its weapons trained on the approaching Odyssey. In that moment, time seemed to slow. Elena saw the determined faces of her crewmates, each ready to sacrifice everything for this chance. She saw the quantum readout of the Stardust device, its energy building to critical levels. And beyond, she saw the vastness of space, teeming with countless civilizations that would be affected by what happened here today. "Now," Captain Tanaka shouted. With a final surge of power, the Odyssey closed the distance. Elena and Aisha activated the Stardust device, its quantum pulse rippling out through subspace. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then, like a wave of silent thunder, the pulse expanded. Zarkonian ships began to falter, their coordinated movements dissolving into chaos. The quantum entanglement network that had been their greatest strength became their undoing, as ships lost contact with each other and their central command. On the Odyssey's bridge, cheers erupted as they witnessed the Zarkonian fleet fall into disarray, but their celebration was short-lived. Warning klaxons blared as the ship's systems began to fail, overtaxed by the strain of the battle and the Stardust deployment. "Hull breach on decks 3 through 7, Raj reported, his voice strained. "We're venting atmosphere. Emergency force fields are failing." Captain Tanaka's voice was calm as she opened a channel to the rest of the human fleet. "This is the Odyssey. Stardust deployment successful. The Zarkonian fleet is in disarray. Press the advantage, but be advised, we are going down." As the ship began to break apart around them, Elena felt a strange sense of peace. They had done it. Against all odds, humanity had stood its ground and changed the course of galactic history. The last thing Elena saw before consciousness faded was the sight of Earth ships advancing, pushing back the scattered Zarkonian forces. In that moment, she knew that whatever happened next, humanity had proven its worth among the stars. As darkness closed in, Elena's final thought was a hope that someday the story of the Odyssey and its crew would be told across the galaxy, a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity. The battle raged on, but the tide had turned. Operation Stardust had succeeded, and with it, the future of humanity in the cosmic community was forever altered. The galaxy would never be the same again. The first thing Elena Reyes became aware of was the steady beep of medical equipment. As her eyes fluttered open, she found herself in an unfamiliar room, its architecture a blend of human and alien design. For a moment, panic gripped her. Had they failed? Were they prisoners once again? "Easy there, Doctor," a familiar voice said. Admiral Zhen Liu stepped into view, a tired smile on her face. "You've been through quite an ordeal." Relief washed over Elena as the memories came flooding back. The battle, Operation Stardust, the Odyssey's final moments. "The others?" she asked, her voice hoarse. "Most of the crew made it," Jen replied, her expression softening. "We were able to beam many of you out before the Odyssey, before we lost her. Captain Tanaka is still in critical condition, but the doctors are optimistic. Elena nodded, processing the information. And the Zarkonians? The Admiral's face hardened, defeated, but not destroyed. Your Stardust device worked better than we could have hoped. It didn't just disrupt their fleet, it exposed their deceptions to the entire galaxy. As Elena's strength returned, she learned the full extent of what had transpired in the days following the battle. The quantum pulse from the Stardust device had not only crippled the Zarkonian fleet, but had also inadvertently broadcast their secure communications across subspace. The galaxy bore witness to the true nature of the Zarkonian Empire, their manipulation of the trials, their subjugation of emerging species, and their plans for galactic domination. The response was swift and decisive. Species that had long feared the Zarkonians now rose up against them. The Galactic Concordat, shaken by the revelations, convened an emergency session to address the crisis. 2 weeks after waking up, Elena found herself standing before the assembled representatives of the Concordat. The great hall buzzed with a cacophony of alien languages, but as she stepped up to the podium, a hush fell over the crowd. Taking a deep breath, Elena began to speak. Her words, translated into countless languages, echoed through the chamber. Esteemed members of the Galactic Concordat, I stand before you not just as a representative of Earth, but as a voice for all species who have been silenced, oppressed, or denied their rightful place among the stars. The recent events have shown us that the cosmos is vast and wondrous, but it is also fraught with peril, not just from the natural dangers of space, but from those who would use their power to dominate others. She paused, her gaze sweeping across the assembled aliens. But we have also seen the incredible potential for good. In our darkest hour, when all seemed lost, we witnessed beings from across the galaxy coming together to stand against tyranny. This is the true strength of a united cosmic community, not in uniformity, but in our diversity. Each species brings its unique perspective, its own solutions to the challenges we all face. Elena's voice grew stronger, filled with conviction. Humanity may be new to this galactic stage, but we come with open minds and open hearts. We have made mistakes, and we will make more. But we are committed to learning, to growing, and to working alongside all of you to build a better future for every sentient being in the cosmos. As she concluded her speech, the hall erupted in a chorus of alien vocalizations, cheers, trills, and other sounds of approval. The Galactic Concordat, moved by humanity's actions and Elena's words, voted unanimously to grant Earth full membership. In the months that followed, the galaxy underwent a profound transformation. The Zarkonian Empire, stripped of its power and influence, was dismantled. Its leadership faced justice for their crimes, while its people began the long process of reintegration into galactic society. The trial system, long manipulated by the Zarkonians, was reformed. A new era of open communication and cultural exchange blossomed between species. Earth, with its unique history of overcoming divisions and striving for unity, played a crucial role in these efforts. 1 year after the Battle of Zarkon Prime, as it came to be known, Elena stood on the observation deck of the newly christened starship Phoenix, named in honor of the Odyssey and all those who had sacrificed to bring humanity to this point. Beside her stood Captain Yuki Tanaka, finally recovered from her injuries, and the core team that had been through so much together. As they watched the shipyards of Earth orbit, bustling with activity as humans worked alongside alien allies to build the next generation of exploration vessels, Elena felt a sense of awe and purpose. "It's incredible, isn't it?" Yuki said softly. "A year ago, we were alone, reaching out into the darkness. Now look at us." Elena nodded, a smile playing on her lips. "We've come so far, but our journey is just beginning. There's so much more to explore, so much more to learn." As if on cue, a communication came through. It was Admiral Liu, her holographic image appearing before them. "Captain, Doctor, we've just received a message from the Andromedan cluster. They're requesting Earth's assistance in mediating a dispute between two of their oldest civilizations. Apparently, our reputation precedes us. Yuki straightened, a glimmer of excitement in her eyes. Looks like the Phoenix will have her shakedown cruise sooner than expected. What do you say, folks? Ready to make some new friends? The crew's response was unanimous and enthusiastic. As they moved to their stations, preparing the ship for its maiden voyage, Elena took one last look at Earth. The pale blue dot that had been humanity's cradle now seemed both intimately familiar and strangely small in the vastness of the galaxy they were still discovering. They had faced betrayal, overcome seemingly insurmountable odds, and emerged stronger for it. Humanity had found its place among the stars, not through conquest or deception, but through resilience, cooperation, and an unwavering spirit of exploration. As the Phoenix engaged its faster-than-light drive, Elena felt a surge of pride and hope. The journey that had begun with a mysterious signal had led them here, to the threshold of a new era of galactic cooperation and discovery. And humanity, once alone in the cosmos, would face whatever challenges lay ahead with newfound friends at their side and the infinite possibilities of the universe before them. The stars beckoned, and humanity answered the call.